I found him on a hookup sub, but my heart couldn't stop wanting him. I find myself staring at his phone, the screen lighting up the darkened kitchen like a cruel spotlight. My hands tremble, though I try to keep them steady, my thumb hovering over the message threads I never thought I'd see. And then I see it. Our city hookups. Him, typing, asking strangers to message him. My chest tightens. My breath catches. My heart is in my throat. It's not just the discovery itself. It's the audacity, the betrayal after nearly 10 years. I sit on the edge of the cold countertop, the tile biting through the thin fabric of my pajama pants, and I replay every casual smile, every "I love you," he whispered. It all feels stained now, like sunlight on a dirty window. He walks in. Behind me, humming absent-mindedly, and I almost drop the phone. My stomach twists. He doesn't know I know. He leans against the counter, stretching, the scent of his cologne so familiar, so intimate, cutting through my shock, reminding me of everything I once loved. "Hey," he says, casual, the sound of his voice normally grounding, but now it feels sharp, like glass under my nails. I just look at him, my jaw tight, my eyes narrowing. I can feel the blood rushing in my ears. There's a silence between us that feels loaded, every second like a weight pressing down. I start, then falter. My hands clench the phone like a lifeline. I want to scream, to confront, to throw something across the room, but instead I sit there, breathless, tasting anger and heartbreak all at once. He notices my stare, tilts his head, and a small nervous smile flickers across his lips. "What's wrong?" I shake my head, unable to trust my voice. The tension is palpable, two people in the same space, yet separated by this invisible chasm of deceit. My fingers unconsciously trace the edge of the countertop, seeking grounding in the coldness beneath my touch. "You're distant," he says finally, his voice low, probing. He doesn't know. Not yet. But I feel like the room itself is holding its breath with me. "Yeah," I whisper finally, voice almost inaudible. "Distant. And I can't. I trail off, words dissolving in the air between us. My eyes flick to the phone. I don't even realize I'm shaking until he steps closer, the heat from his body brushing against mine. The proximity is intoxicating and infuriating all at once. I hate that I want the comfort his nearness always brought. Hate that my body responds even when my mind screams to leave. He reaches out instinctively, like he knows he can close the distance, and I flinch. My stomach knots at the contact, memories of soft touches, whispered secrets, and late-night confessions flooding me. I want to pull him close and tear him apart at the same time. "Talk to me," he murmurs, his breath brushing my ear, the smell of his shampoo filling my senses. His closeness is a taunt, a cruel reminder of everything we once had. I swallow, tasting tears I refuse to shed. "I just need space." His hand drops, but the ache of almost touch lingers. I can feel the unspoken words, the tension humming between us like a live wire. My pulse races. Part of me wants to confront him, to scream, to end it all tonight. Another part, another dangerous, stupid part of me, wants to understand why, wants to hold on to the fragments of the man I loved. I look at him, really look, and I see the small telltales of guilt in his eyes, a shadow behind his usual bravado. It's enough to keep me hanging on the edge of fury, and something unnameable, lingering desire maybe, or just the ache of familiarity. I step back finally, distancing myself, letting the tension thrum through the space between us. He watches me, uncertain. My hands shake as I grip the phone tighter, a silent vow forming in my chest. I am done being naive, done being hurt. But tonight, I can't leave. I can't act. Not yet. And with that, the shift hits. A sharp, heavy pivot in the air. I know that nothing between us will ever be the same. Something's about to break, and I don't know if it will be him, me, or us. I find myself in the living room later, the house quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. He's on the couch, scrolling lazily on his phone, the casualness driving me insane. Every little movement, the way he runs his thumb across the screen, the slight tilt of his head, feels like a dare. I sit across from him, legs tucked beneath me, trying to appear calm, trying not to let him see how torn I am. I want to confront him, but I don't. My heartbeat thrums in my ears. I feel the tension, thick and almost tangible, stretching the space between us. "You're quiet," he observes, his voice low, almost teasing. "Too quiet." "I'm thinking," I reply, letting the word hang like a challenge. My eyes don't leave his. I see the flicker of curiosity, or is it guilt, in his expression. He shifts slightly, leaning forward, and the air between us seems to thicken, charged with all the things we're not saying. I catch the faint scent of his aftershave, and it's maddening, almost cruel, because I remember how it used to make me feel safe, cherished. Now it only makes me dizzy. "I feel like something's off," he says, almost cautiously, like he's stepping around an invisible minefield. I let a small, bitter smile curl my lips. "Something's off? Really? I would have never guessed." He chuckles nervously, scratching the back of his neck. "There's an awkward energy here, a mix of desire and restraint. I want to cross that line, just to see if he'll meet me there. I want to see if there's still a part of him that belongs to me." I move slightly closer, letting my knee brush his. He freezes for a fraction of a second, and the electricity between us jolts me. The tension is unbearable, and I can almost feel him leaning in, almost surrendering. "You know," he says quietly, "we've been through a lot. I cut him off with a soft laugh, though it's hollow. "A lot? Is that what we're calling it now? A lot?" He meets my gaze, and for a moment there's a flicker of vulnerability there, and then it's gone, replaced by something teasing, something dangerous. He shifts closer again, and the air practically vibrates between us. "You're not leaving," he whispers. His lips are close enough I can feel the warmth of his breath, the faintest brush of his chin against mine. I want to pull back, I do. But instead, I let my hand hover near his, almost touching, almost a confession, almost a challenge. The almost is torture. I don't speak. I can't. The silence is loaded, every heartbeat a drum of temptation and fear. And then, the moment passes just like that, leaving me trembling, aching, frustrated. I retreat slightly, letting the physical distance remind us both that there are limits, that boundaries are still here. But the memory of that near touch, that almost intimacy, lingers like smoke in my lungs. "Maybe we need space," I murmur finally, trying to convince myself more than him. He nods slowly, the tension between us unresolved, unbroken, thick enough to choke on. The game has begun, and I know, deep down, that nothing will ever be simple again. The morning sunlight spills across the kitchen floor, warm and indifferent, like it doesn't know the weight pressing down on me. I make coffee in silence, the clink of the mug and the hiss of the machine loud in the stillness. He's nearby, moving about the room with that casual ease that used to make my chest lift, that used to feel like home. Now it's a subtle provocation, a reminder of everything I've lost, or everything I'm afraid of losing. He approaches, holding his mug, and the heat from his body cuts through me before I even see him. I can smell the faint remnants of his shampoo, a familiar scent that's both comforting and maddening. I glance up and our eyes meet, just for a second, but the air between us tightens, vibrating with unsaid words and the weight of nearly 10 years tangled in every glance. "Morning," he says, voice low, almost hesitant. There's something in it, a tremor, a vulnerability that makes my chest constrict. "Morning," I answer softly, careful not to reveal how much this proximity is affecting me, how much I want to reach for him, to shake him, to demand truth, to fold into his arms, all at once. He leans against the counter, mug in hand, watching me with that look, the one that used to make me weak, that used to make me feel like I was the only person in the world he could see. Only now, I can see the guilt lurking beneath it, a shadow I can't ignore. I don't know how to fix this, he admits, almost a whisper, almost lost in the hum of the refrigerator. His eyes search mine, desperate, and for a moment, I think about reaching out, bridging the space between us. But the memory of betrayal claws at me, sharp and raw. I set my mug down, my fingers trembling slightly as they brush the edge. I take a step closer, feeling the pull between us, magnetic and dangerous. "You don't get to fix it," I say softly, voice breaking just a little. "You don't get a quick fix for 10 years of pretending." He flinches at the weight of my words, but he doesn't move away. Instead, he leans just a fraction closer, closing the distance that my body both craves and fears. There's a charged pause, a suspended moment where the world narrows to us, and our nearly touching hands, our almost confessions, the tension thick and humming. I still care about us," he murmurs, voice low, roughened by regret. "I know I screwed up, but—" His words trail off, caught between desperation and shame. Something inside me softens just slightly. I can feel it in the tiny flutter in my stomach, in the way my hands itch to reach out, to brush a stray lock of hair from his forehead, to touch the familiar curve of his jaw. I resist, barely, but my body betrays me anyway, leaning ever so, slightly toward him. He notices. I see it in the flicker of his eyes, the hitch in his breath. And then, finally, I let myself close the gap, my hand brushing against his arm, a tentative, trembling touch. Electricity surges through me, sharp and delicious, and I catch my breath. He stiffens at first, then slowly leans into the contact, as if he's been holding back from this exact moment, afraid to hope it could happen. "I've been so angry," I whisper, voice low and ragged. "But I can't lie. I still want this." The words taste dangerous on my tongue, yet the release of speaking them makes the ache in my chest bloom, raw and hot. His eyes soften, and his hand hovers over mine before brushing it with the lightest, most tentative pressure. "I've wanted this," he admits, voice barely audible. "I've wanted you, like this, for so long." Our hands intertwine, hesitant, trembling, but real. It's enough to send a shiver through me, to make me dizzy with longing and fear, and exhilaration all at once. I feel the heat of him, the almost intimate closeness, the pull of desire that has nothing to do with betrayal and everything to do with history, familiarity, and connection. And then impossibly he leans in, brushing his lips just against the side of my neck. My breath catches, sharp and sudden. It's not a kiss, not yet, but it's the promise of one. The first breach in the wall we've both been building for months. The first confession of what we've been denying, that the spark, the thread, the dangerous pull is still alive. I tremble in response, a rush of heat rising to my cheeks, my stomach twisting. My hand moves up, almost instinctively, to rest lightly against his chest, feeling the rapid beat of his heart through the fabric of his shirt. It's tender. It's tentative. It's a promise wrapped in hesitation, and it leaves me both breathless and aching for more. But just as quickly as the moment blooms, reality intrudes. A crash from the living room, a dropped book, a squealing toy snaps us apart, leaving the tension unresolved, the confession incomplete. He steps back, guilt and longing warring in his expression, and I retreat as well, heart hammering, body tingling, mind reeling. We've touched the edge of something dangerous, something intoxicating, something neither of us can quite name yet. And I know deep down that this first confession, is only the beginning. The real reckoning, the real confrontation with desire and betrayal is still ahead. The air between us vibrates with the promise of what's to come, thick and heavy, impossible to ignore. And for the first time in months, I feel a flicker of something I thought I'd lost. Hope. The evening wraps around the house like a velvet cloak, quiet but heavy, pressing against my skin. The kids are asleep upstairs, leaving us alone in the dim glow of the living room lamps. I sit on the edge of the couch, knees pulled close, the weight of the day still lingering in my chest. He lingers near the doorway, hesitant, the shadows cutting across his face, softening the sharp lines of worry and guilt. I can feel him watching me, and the awareness ignites something volatile inside me, part longing, part anger, part raw, aching desire. Our history, our connection, the betrayal, the near-miss confession this morning, it all swirls between us, thick and inescapable. The room feels too small for all the tension pressing in from every side. He steps closer, slowly, deliberately, and the air shifts. I can feel the heat radiating from him before I even see the curve of his smile. The familiarity of him, the smell of him, the subtle brush of his sleeve against mine as he passes. It's maddening. I want to pull back, to protect myself from being hurt again, but something in me, the foolish, stubborn part that's never let go, leans in instead. I can't stop thinking about this, he whispers, voice low, almost a growl. About us. About you. My chest tightens at the intensity, the raw honesty in his tone. I look at him, really look, and I see it. Vulnerability, regret, longing, and something fiercer still, a desperate hunger that mirrors my own. I feel the pull. Between us, impossible and undeniable, a thread taut with everything we've bottled up for months. I don't know if I can trust you, I murmur, voice trembling despite my efforts to stay steady. My fingers trace absent patterns across the edge of the couch, betraying my nerves. After everything, after what I found. His hand hovers, near mine, hesitating, and my pulse flares in response. The tension is unbearable, the almost touch between us like live electricity. Finally, he bridges the gap, resting his hand lightly over mine. The contact is gentle, but it sends a shiver through me, deep and consuming. I know, he says, voice rough with emotion. I don't expect forgiveness, not yet, not tonight, but I need you to know I'm here. I'm not walking away. I can't. I close my eyes, leaning slightly into the warmth of him, the steady presence, the weight of his confession. My fingers curl around his lightly, feeling the pulse of his life beneath his skin, and the tension inside me blooms into something fierce and inescapable. Desire, fear, love, anger, they're all tangled together, each one sharpening the other. Then, prove it, I whisper. It's not a challenge, it's a plea. A fragile, trembling demand. He leans closer, his forehead brushing mine, and I can feel his breath against my skin, hot and tantalizing. I hear the quick hitch in his breath as our noses touch, and the room narrows until there is only him, only me, only the electricity humming between us. God, I've missed this, he murmurs, lips hovering, not quite touching. I've missed you. I tremble, heart racing, body aching, and I let my hands move to his chest, tracing the firm lines beneath his shirt. The sensation is grounding and incendiary all at once. The feel of him beneath my fingers a reminder of intimacy, history, and the vulnerability we've both carried for far too long. His hands lift to my waist, tentative at first, then firmer, anchoring me as if afraid I might slip away. The tension between us cracks, and suddenly it's not just desire. It's something more, deeper. Emotional walls crumble under the heat of honesty, vulnerability, and years of connection. I'm scared, I whisper against his chest, voice raw. I don't know if we can survive this. Then we survive it, he breathes back, tilting his head, lips brushing against the side of my neck, feather-light, teasing. Together, if you'll let me. I shiver at the intimacy, at the near touch that promises more but is still restrained. Every nerve ending feels alight, every heartbeat synchronized with his, every breath caught between longing and fear. We are both trembling on the precipice of something we've denied for too long, the tension unbearable and exquisite. The clock ticks in the background, but time doesn't matter. We exist in this suspended moment, hands intertwined, foreheads touching, breaths mingling. Desire and confession merge into something new, something that isn't just physical. It's emotional, raw, and irreversibly binding. I lift my face to meet his eyes fully, and in them, I see everything. Apology, longing, desperation, and the unspoken promise of devotion. My hand brushes his cheek, fingertips soft, almost reverent. The contact is intimate, grounding, electrifying. I can't lose this, I whisper, voice breaking. I can't lose us. Then you won't, he murmurs, pressing his forehead to mine once more. Not if I have anything to say about it. The room is thick with tension, with unspoken confessions, with longing and fear and love. It's the most intimate, vulnerable, and consuming moment we've shared since the betrayal. We are caught in the perfect storm of desire and emotion, suspended on the edge of surrender, and yet neither of us moves beyond this brink. Not yet. It's raw. It's tender. It's a breaking point where every heartbeat, every shiver, every whispered confession burns into memory, indelible and impossible to ignore. And I know, in the marrow of my bones, that nothing after this will ever be simple. Not for us, not for me, not for him. But for the first time in a long time, I feel alive, fully, painfully, beautifully alive. The house is quiet now, a fragile peace stretching over the rooms like a soft, almost imperceptible hum. The kids are asleep upstairs, the night outside still and dark, but inside the air is electric, charged with the intimacy and tension that has been building for weeks. I sit on the edge of the couch, hands wrapped around a warm mug, and he kneels in front of me, the floor beneath us suddenly insignificant. His eyes are wide, searching, vulnerable, and I feel a pull deep in my chest, the kind that shakes me to my core. This is it. The moment where everything changes, where the walls we've built crumble entirely, leaving only the raw, aching truth between us. I've waited, he whispers, voice thick with emotion, for a chance to make this right, not just for us, for me, for you, for everything we lost along the way. I swallow hard, heart hammering, body alight with the tension I've tried to ignore for too long. I want to look away, to protect myself from being hurt again. But I can't. My gaze locks with his, and suddenly the world outside this room ceases to exist. There is only him, only me, only the pull between us that has been impossible to deny. I want this too, I whisper, voice trembling. I want you. I can't stop wanting you. The words feel dangerous, liberating, and they hang in the air, thick with confession and desire. His hands lift, trembling slightly, and cup my face with a gentleness that makes my chest ache. "Then we don't stop," he says. "Not tonight. Not ever. If we can't go back, we go forward. Together." I lean into him instinctively, and the contact sets off a fire inside me, a torrent of heat and longing that courses through every nerve. His lips brush against mine in a soft, tentative kiss, and my body responds before my mind can intervene. It's not just a kiss. It's years of longing, betrayal, hope, and forgiveness condensed into one fragile electric moment. I wrap my arms around him, holding him close, letting the warmth of his body ground me, comfort me, ignite me. The kiss deepens, slow and consuming, a dance of tension and release, of fear and desire. Every touch, every sigh, every trembling hand is laden with the weight of what we've endured. The ache of almost lost love finally unshackled. "I've never stopped thinking about you," he murmurs against my lips, voice rough, laden with confession. "Every day, every hour, even when I was a fool, even when I hurt you, I missed you. I missed us." Tears prick at the corners of my eyes, a mixture of relief, anger, and longing flooding through me. I pull back just enough to look at him, fingers brushing along his jaw, memorizing the lines, the expressions, the man I've loved and still love. "You hurt me," I whisper, voice breaking. "But I can't hate you, not entirely, not now." He leans closer again, pressing his forehead to mine, and I feel the world narrow to this. Our breathing, our racing hearts, the heat of skin on skin, the taste of hope in the space between us. "We'll start again," he promises softly. "Piece by piece, day by day. I'll earn you back. I'll earn us back. I swear it." I nod, trembling, letting the words sink into the raw, tender parts of my heart I'd been protecting for months. The past is still there, a shadow we can't ignore, but in this moment, the future stretches out, fragile but real, between us. Our hands intertwine, fingers threading together in a grip that is both grounding and electric. I feel the familiar pull of intimacy, not just physical, but emotional, profound, and consuming. Every caress, every brush of our skin, every heartbeat resonates with history, longing, and the fragile hope of renewal. I can't promise it. "Will be easy," I murmur, lips brushing his in a soft, lingering kiss. "But I want to try. I want to fight for us. And I'll fight too," he whispers, pressing his lips to my temple, then the side of my neck, gentle and reverent. "Every day, every moment. I'll never take you for granted again. I swear it." The tension that has been coiling inside us, dangerous and unspoken, finally unravels. I feel it in the way we cling to each other, in the tremor of our touch, in the way our breaths mingle and hearts beat together. It's not just desire. It's forgiveness. It's trust being rebuilt. It's the raw, tender acknowledgement that we are more than our mistakes, more than the pain, more than the betrayals. We settle into each other, bodies pressed close, hearts synchronized, and for the first time in weeks, I feel entirely seen, entirely known, and entirely loved. The ache that lingered, the uncertainty, the fear. They soften, replaced by something radiant, fragile, and entirely ours. "I love you," he whispers, voice breaking slightly, raw and unguarded. "I love you more than I can say." "I love you too," I reply, letting the words fall freely, unrestrained. "And I forgive you. But I need us to be honest from now on. No more almosts, no more secrets. Never again," he vows, pressing a lingering kiss to my lips, sealing the promise with warmth, with touch, with everything we've both been yearning for. The night stretches on, quiet and infinite, and I feel it. The shift, the change, the breaking and rebuilding of something beautiful and enduring. We've crossed the precipice together, survived the storm, and emerged trembling but unbroken in each other's arms. And as I close my eyes, head resting against his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart, I finally believe it. Love, real. Complicated, painful, exhilarating love can endure, can survive betrayal, can rise from ashes stronger and more tender than ever. We are here, together, at last.